Hello, everyone. I'm Brian Love, head of Banking and Fintech at Travillian. Welcome to a special episode of Travillian Next, where we will hear about how community bankers are stepping up to support relief efforts in the aftermath of Hurricane Helene. To our viewers, if you're like me, you may be hundreds or even thousands of miles away from the affected areas in Florida, North Carolina, Virginia, and Tennessee. And just like the Travillian team, you've probably been watching the news or social media and seen the heartbreaking videos of devastation to areas like Asheville, North Carolina, and Unicoi, Tennessee. And you probably want to do some good and contribute in some way. So we've decided to use our content channel, Travillian Next, to raise awareness and funds for these efforts. I urge you, viewers, to please contribute to the organizations that will be mentioned in the video and listed in our posts. Let me now go to our guests, who are a few community banker friends that have made some time to be here with us today and are located some of them mere miles from the affected areas. Lynn Johnson is the Chief Operating Officer at the North Carolina Bankers Association. Lynn, thank you so much for being here. Can you tell us about what you're seeing and what's going on and what the last week has been like for you?
Thank you, Brian, for having us, and thank you for bringing attention to this. The last week has been a whirlwind, overwhelming. Our hearts are breaking for all our fellow Western North Carolinians. It's the devastation continues to grow every day. You hear new stories. I will say I'm very, very thankful to North Carolinians and across the country. We're hearing from partners and friends across the United States that want to contribute and help the Western North Carolina and other areas affected. Power is slowly coming back on. Communications is coming back up. I heard this morning that hopefully by the weekend, 75% of those will have power back. That's important. Rescue continues for citizens that have been cut completely off. The National Guard's there, rescuing people daily. So the need will be ongoing for years. This will not be a sprint. It's going to be a marathon. The recovery, the infrastructure will take years. The roads are buckled and bridges are out. People are without jobs. So the need is great in North Carolina.
And Lynn, at the North Carolina Bankers Association, we were just talking about, are there specific organizations that are raising money and awareness that our viewers could potentially contribute to?
Yes, the North Carolina Bankers Foundation is raising money for banking families that have lost homes, lost cars, are going to be without work, and all the funds raised will go directly to them after any insurance coverage. But in North Carolina, there's been so much rising water. Most insurance policies don't cover flood. And we know of many banking employees that's lost their homes and their cars. So our information is on our LinkedIn page, and we welcome any contributions to help our banking families.
Yeah, thank you, Lynn. I mean, and that's, you don't think of floods when you think of your region. It's more coastal region. So it's just so, it's so sad. I guess, Lynn, but I know you only have a little bit of time with us because you're, kind of in your efforts around the clock here. Any stories, that just stood out to you that you've seen or heard over the last week of heroism or, just anything that pulled at your heartstrings?
Well, many of those. So we've had calls with our North Carolina banker CEOs and bankers. They've worked around the clock and their voices crack. And it's hard, people that you've worked with when I was a banker in competition with, but all good friends. And to see them, those that have boots on the ground, and to see them caring about their people and the emotional toll it's taken on them. But to see so many private citizens in North Carolina bringing helicopters, private planes, they're dropping food in floatable boxes by parachute to people. They're bringing their mules. In North Carolina, you've probably never heard of Mule Day, but I've always wondered what you do with mules, but they are using mules to have convoys into the mountains because there's no roads in a lot of those areas. They're taking food to people, bringing people down on those mules. People are taking their ATVs to help. It's just people are volunteering, caring. Um, I had a banker email me Tuesday night. His bank has given a very large contribution to our foundation. That's his competition. He said, "We're not impacted by this storm, but we're not competition right now. We're a banking family." And they're giving a nice contribution, and it just gave me chills to think about the goodness of people. And we often hear private organizations, sometimes the general public thinks they're not good-hearted, but on calls this week, how so many large industries are reaching out, doing organizing efforts to help citizens. It's very heartwarming.
That's terrific. I mean, you can't have a community bank without a community,
That's right.
and that's what it's all about. I was a community banker for a long time, and that's why I wanted to get the word out and help. Let me bring in Billy Carroll, President and CEO of SmartBank. Billy, what are you seeing out there? What would you like to mention to our viewers?
Yeah, Lynn did such a great job of talking about that. We're seeing the same thing over on the other side of the line in the mountains. The communities that were affected in East Tennessee are just a little north of us as you look into, Cott County, Greene County, Carter County, and then up into Irwin and the Unicoi County area. It's interesting. While our mountains kind of divide us, a lot of times you don't think about how close we are in proximity with our state line. And so we're seeing some of the same things. It is especially up into the some of the Carter County and Unicoi County markets. We're seeing continued issues with water supply. Those things are coming back. As Lynn mentioned, we're starting to get some of those utilities back in place, but the recovery is just going to continue to be a long recovery. A lot of roads out. I think the connection between Tennessee and North Carolina, I think that's going to kind of impact both of our states for a little while because we go back and forth so easily. It's both the major road systems are damaged, and I think we're just going to be in probably a time here where we're just going to have to kind of figure out some other ways to get around. But at the end of the day, as Lynn said, it's just awesome to see our bankers come together in times of need. Similar to North Carolina, our Tennessee Bankers Association has a disaster relief fund, and folks interested in contributing to that, those dollars will be focused solely on our efforts for our Upper East Tennessee bankers. Um, Anybody that's interested in donating to those causes can jump on to our tnbankers.org website, Tennessee Bankers Association website. There's a link there to our disaster relief fund that we do specifically for bankers. Other folks in the community, we're doing disaster relief efforts in our communities. We're doing a lot of collecting of some of the needed supplies, water, those things. We've got some drop off points in our branches, several of our branches here in East Tennessee that we're getting up to that Upper East Tennessee market. We've got a Mountain Ways is a charitable foundation established by some local individuals that particularly looks at things like this. So if we have any individuals looking to contribute, we're directing them to the Mountain Ways Foundation. That website is mountainwaystn.org. And really a great association where 100% of the dollars are going directly to impacted families. As Lynn says, it's unbelievable. You don't think about these types of situations in the mountains. But we've seen it, and something we're dealing with, and it's really great to see our communities rally and our bankers rally to help.
Thank you, Billy. Thank you very much for that. I'll go now to John Hunter. John, you are the market president for Johnson City area of Trio Cities Bank, which is a division of Oconee State Bank out of Georgia. But you're a longtime Eastern Tennessee resident and you're a public servant as well. Can you tell us a little bit about what you're seeing? I know you and I we specifically talked about the airlifting from the Unicoi Hospital, and that's a mere miles from you.
Yeah, absolutely. And as Billy mentioned, Carter County, Unicoi County are, 5-10 minutes from where I sit here in Johnson City. Johnson City proper, we were blessed, and it's kind of crazy considering the fact that our downtown was built on two creeks, that we did not experience the flooding that our neighbors did. Our focus right now has been on helping our neighbors in Washington County, Carter County, and Unicoi. To give you kind of an idea of what happened, the Nolichucky River runs through Unicoi. It typically flows at about 400 cubic feet per second. It peaked at 162,000 cubic feet per second. I was talking to Lynn ahead of this and asking about the interstate system in Asheville. And, it sounds like on that side of the mountain, they're dealing with mudslides that temporarily block the interstate. The Nolichucky River exceeded the height of the interstate bridge in Unicoi and wiped it out. There's nothing to scrape off because there's nothing in that area. People are talking about, well, how do we get to Asheville? How do we get to Greenville, South Carolina? And literally, we're talking about going up into Virginia and then dropping down into North Carolina, which makes a 45-minute drive a 3-hour drive. But the local response and the immediate response by businesses and residents has been overwhelming and amazing, to the point that some donation sites had to stop taking donations because they were just overwhelmed, which is it's a great thing to see. But the impact. I mean, we've never seen anything like this. And it was literally like a tsunami. That what was expected and what happened were just two totally different things. Talking to a friend of mine whose husband works in Unicoi at a factory. He was fortunate to get out, but the water rose so quickly. At one point there was water in the parking lot, and the next they were standing on top of a tractor trailer trying to figure out how to get out, and some of them did not. But FEMA's here now, and the efforts become more coordinated. And as Lynn said, we just finished the sprint and we're working towards starting the marathon.
And John, you had mentioned a specific organization when we spoke a couple days ago. Did you want to mention that again today? It seemed like a terrific cause.
Yeah, an organization here locally that was started during COVID as kind of a lifeline for small businesses when everything was shut down is called Region Ahead. And they've got a website, regionahead.com. And it was started by local business owners who just wanted to help the community. And so this covers a 17 county region in Virginia, Southwest Virginia, Northeast Tennessee, and Western North Carolina. And small businesses they've restarted the organization to help small businesses that have been affected by the flood, and they can apply for a grant. There's already been several fairly large donations locally, but that's an organization that can help, get our community back on its feet.
Terrific. I know Lynn had to go back to her duty of talking with her North Carolina constituents. She and Peter Gwaltney. I also want to give a shout out to Blake Edwards at Skyline Bank. Made a lot of connections for us to get this on. I guess, in closing, guys, is there any other message you want to give to our viewers? Again, community banks are, kind of the lifeblood of their communities. There's businesses and people that are affected by this. Anything else you'd like to tell us about your organizations or your clients or your employees?
I'll start, and then John can wrap up. Brian, I think a lot of it is just continue to support, whether that's financially or with donations. Is right as John said, it's been great. It's overwhelming to see the communities come in and help. So I think we experienced this, in the Gatlinburg wildfires several years ago. We rewind a similar situation, unprecedented, and it happened in a split second. And I think what I would encourage folks to do is don't forget about it. Is what I would say, because it's headlines this week, and then we all get back to normal next week. Everybody except the folks that are impacted.
Mhm.
So I would encourage folks to stay plugged in to what's going on in all of these communities, and as they recover, look to get back over there. Look to go back over. Tourism, especially in some of those zones, is really important. Just don't forget about them. Is what I would say. That's first. Obviously, continue to look for opportunities to help, whether it's lending efforts in some of these rebuilding zones. Again, there'll be a lot of support, but we just got to, I think, as bankers, we just have to look for ways and opportunities to contribute and lend our balance sheets and capital to getting these folks back to work and these businesses back open as fast as they can.
I don't think I could have said it any better, Billy. The infrastructure is going to take a long time. Housing is going to take a long time. I know in our area, in Johnson City alone, I think prior to this, because we've had an influx of people moving into our region, as I'm sure Billy has as well. We had a housing shortage already of about 2,400, and this is going to amplify that. And this is it's going to take a while. Please don't forget us, and we appreciate anything you all can do to support.
Yeah, that's a good point. The news cycle these days is just like blink and you miss it.
Yep.
So we'll make sure to post this again and again in the coming weeks and months and quarters. The tourism too. My sister was just in Asheville not long ago. It's such a great tourist area, and it's very shocking to see the places you walked that are you can't even you can't walk. You have to take a boat. It's insane. So thank you so much for being here today. I'll again reiterate the organizations that have been mentioned. One of them is mountainwaystn.org.
Mm-hmm.
That was from Billy. And John, yours was regionahead.com.
Correct.
Lynn had to jump, but we'll make sure to link the North Carolina Bankers Foundation to this post as well. And again, thank you for your efforts. We do hope we do some good here.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us on such short notice, John and Billy.
Yeah. Well, and Brian, thank you, and Travillian, everything that you guys do, not just for our industry, but in times like this too. It's great that you guys are putting a spotlight on this. It's much appreciated.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Not doing this for anything else but the people that are affected. Yep. But thank you for that.
Yep.
And have a wonderful weekend. Thanks so much, guys.
Thank you. Bye-bye.